What would America, perhaps AFRICOM, be prepared to do? Would you be considering an ouster like we saw with Muammar Gaddafi in Libya? Because there's still many Africans who are yet to recover from that. If this is a bigger threat, as you say, in Burkina Faso, what is AFRICOM prepared to do about it?
AFRICOM apparently has this long-term goal to make sure that the people of Burkina Faso and the Africans are in a better position to do well.
Whatever.
In 2050, 50 years from now, we want to make sure that the African people have a great foundation and they're able to really do very well for themselves. So we have shared values. We have shared values, and we just want to make sure that we put institutions in place that will help capitalize that as we fight this common enemy. You know, these freaking terrorists. Yeah, we don't believe you.
That guy, you are trying. I feel like he tried so hard to get away from what he said in that U.S. Senate meeting.
Accusing Ibrahim Traore of corruption.
Yes, and he tried to flip it completely. He took his time, his month to decide what am I going to say in these interviews that I know I'm going to have.
And he was picking his words very carefully.
Yes.
Now you want to come out here and say that there's some great things that they're doing. How can a corrupt person be doing some great things there?
As I started by the title, that do you think General Michael Langley was replaced with a very dangerous man, very dangerous general of Air Force, Lieutenant General Dagvin R.M. Anderson? Many Africans reacted about this, maybe some of saying that this all happened just due to the prayers of Africans, because since this guy started to attract the influence from Africa, since he started the mission of coming to Africa and do some things in Africa, you know, that's when things started going against his will, because this guy, even before he allocated in Africa, many Africans, many black people were already speak negatively against General Langley because of what he explained in the Senate. He gave clearly a statement that Burkina Faso and Ibrahim Traore is misusing the Burkinabe's gold to benefit himself or to protect himself, and this brought a lot of sparks across the African regions, across the black community, because just like people were asking many questions, why is he concerned about the gold of Burkina Faso while these are the gold of Burkina Faso but are not the gold of US? So those are the major issues that were making the African people to be harsh and to not to listen to anything that comes out of General Langley. So it's just a few days after he relocated to Africa, and he had an interview in Kenya. So that's when he expressed himself, and he has a lot to say. And this guy, when you listen to his interview and the way he was speaking, he was so focused on Burkina Faso and Ibrahim Traore at once. So many Africans have said that already. You cannot play with Africans. The Africans has the powerful words. The Africans has a powerful cast words, you know. So listen to what he has to say.
You are on African soil, not for the first time, but this would be a good moment to ask about one of the countries that has taken its own autonomy, and that's Burkina Faso. Yeah. Your remarks recently at the Senate seem to suggest that he's diverting, General Traore, is diverting its 4 billion gold reserves to sustain his military rule rather than for public welfare. These remarks sparked widespread condemnation across the continent. What did you mean by that statement?
Let me speak to Burkina Faso's sovereignty. They maintain their sovereignty. They make their decisions how they use their resources. They make their decisions who their resources go to for military support. That's their sovereign right. But my cautionary tale was just from a military perspective. That was a Senate Armed Services Committee asking me a direct question. Burkina Faso lot of great things going on to progress them forward, okay? But then when you look at the military part of it, knowing that that's the epicenter of global terrorism, it was my time to illuminate that this is probably their weakest point, and there needs to be sufficient resources going towards for the whole fight of terrorism in that country, period.
Yeah, of course. Despite this guy being a military commander that was in Africa, you know, in Africa we have many military bases. We have U.S. military bases in each and every African countries. So this was Michael Langley was the boss to all these military bases of U.S. in Africa. So he was the one who was controlling everything that was happening concerning the Africa, concerning the military, the West military bases in Africa. He was the final command to all this military. So when he was coming to Africa, he was saying that he was basically first on a strategic military basis in Africa. You know, after this guy came to Africa and started express to us what he was here and the mission that he has come to accomplish, he has many things that he was come to do or to deal with. When he came to Nairobi, Kenya, he came to meet with the many chiefs and chief of the defense forces in Africa. So he held a summit with these chiefs, and during his speech, he only focused, and his main agenda was to go and deal with Capt.Ibrahim Traore, because he was saying that he didn't even recognize Ibrahim Traore as the leader of Burkina Faso. He didn't recognize Capt.Ibrahim Traore as the head of state of Burkina Faso. So even as he was speaking, his attitudes and his instincts was just focused and based deeply in Burkina Faso. So, and that's when Ibrahim Traore came to reply to Michael Langley when he was in Russia, and he said that,
I don't know what happened with that general. There is still an issue, and I would perhaps like him to admit his mistake if he was sent, and to understand that this was not the right mission. If he was misled, he should say so publicly, or otherwise admit before the Senate that he was mistaken. Or also, if it was done with bad intentions, well, we will confront him as we should, because everything he said is a lie. And it's really shameful to see an adult lie, to see an adult, a general officer of a great army lie. It's very serious. First, he talked about Burkina's gold being used for what? For us to protect ourselves and all that. First of all, it's Burkina's gold, it's not his gold. That's the first thing. What business is it of his?
But, it's very shameful to see an old person speaking lies in front of media, in front of everyone, because what Michael Langley was trying to say and accuse Ibrahim Traore of, it is something that was not even there, because he said that since this Ibrahim Traore came to power, then the influence of terrorism and the many manipulation of terrorists and many deaths has been experienced in Burkina Faso. And the journalist asked him clearly that, do you mean that this has happened after the stepping of Burkina Faso? And he said yes.
Do you think it's getting stronger after General Traore took over?
It has. Just look at the numbers of attacks. It really has, since 2022. I've been tracking this since I took command. So, no ill will towards him, but the decisions is their own. They're looking for other ways to be able to, they're still on warfighting footing, but it's just going to take more resources.
So, Ibrahim Traore, as he responded, he said clearly that whatever Michael Langley has said or accused against him, he has to come out and say sorry. He has to come out and apologize. And he has to go back to the Senate where he made that statement that Ibrahim Traore is misusing the country's gold to protect himself or to sponsor his military issues in Burkina Faso. He has to go back and say that it was a false statement. But Michael Langley again came out and responded saying that who is Ibrahim Traore? He cannot go and apologize because what he never see anything that he made wrong. He never see anything that that would have made him to go and apologize, because what he said meaningly, and he said that his words are his command. So today, that's why we as Africans, we always say that we have to focus on what we are fighting for. We have to stand up and focus to what we are fighting for, no matter what comes in. Because this is an example. Michael Langley has come, he has threatened Africa, he has tried to go and intimidate the revolutionary leader, Ibrahim Traore. The African speaks out. The black community came out and speak differently. Everyone outraged his conclusion. People speak out. But at the end of the day, this guy has been fired. He has gone home. But we as Africans, we are still here. Ibrahim Traore, that was as his enemy. He's just in power. He's just continuing with his duties. He's trying. He's still there as the leader of Burkina Faso. The people of Burkina Faso are still believing in him, and yet Michael Langley is no more. He's already not at work. So this gives us exact reasons and the best reason as to why we have to continue fighting for this. So I can say that the reason as to why Michael Langley was fired is that he failed to accomplish the mission that he was sent to come and accomplish. Because this guy was not only sent to come and maybe deal with the issues of, the military issues or whatever was happening in Africa, but he was sent indirectly to come and make sure that Ibrahim Traore is destroyed. He was indirectly sent to come and make sure that what Donald Trump and what the Western powers are looking in Burkina Faso and are against Ibrahim Traore, they have to succeed their missions. So when he came here and find that the Africans are not soft, the Africans are not letting this to happen. The Africans have stood up and they are so strong supporting Ibrahim Traore, and they are not ready to accept anything to happen. Then it feels like this guy's losing interest, is losing that power to deal with the Africans and the mandatory that he was given. So that's why he is being sent away. Just like the other day, 2 days ago, Donald Trump said that the military army of US is not to translate teachers, it's not to circulate anything else in African country, but to make sure that each and every country in the world follows democracy. So they are going to and provide democracy in each and every country, even at the gunpoint.
The job of the U.S. Armed Forces is not to host drag shows, to transform foreign cultures, but to spread democracy to everybody around the world at the point of a gun. The military's job is to dominate any foe and annihilate any threat to America anywhere, anytime, and any place.
So this means that, we have countries like, we have the Arab country, we have Russia, we have South Korea, we have countries like Israel. This country don't work under democracy. Do you want to say that Donald Trump will make South Korea to work under democracy? Do you want to say that Donald Trump will come and force Arab country to work under democracy? Because country like Arabs, Saudi Arabia, these Arab countries, they are not working under democracy, because these countries are still up to date, working under kingdoms, the inheritance of kingdoms. So that's why they have the best economy. That's why these people have organized themselves, and their countries are working good. They are doing good. When we talk about the economy and infrastructure development, they are far away from African countries, because they never allowed any imperials to go and interfere with their dreams. They never allowed anyone to go and interfere with their plans or with their country resources, because they're the one who are leading in the oil production in the world. So if they could have allowed anyone to go and maybe interfere with their resources like oil, then they could have the problems just like the African countries. Just take an example of the countries like Arabs in these Arab countries, the Emirates. They are the first leading countries producing oil. Let's come in Africa. We have Sudan, the leading country of mineral resources. The country that leading the best and major mineral like cobalt. It is very poorest country, among the poorest country in Africa, yet it is holding the main resource, cobalt, gold, and all the others. But just because they never allowed themselves to organize themselves, just because they never allowed themselves to be independent and to be the one controlling the resources, that's why all this has happened. But when you go to the country of Arab countries in Emirates, these countries have controlled themselves. They are the one controlling each and everything that they have. And that's why it's very hard to see or to hear anything coming out from these countries, because they are consuming their own, and they are consuming what they produce before anyone else consume it. Got the country like China. China is one of the countries that was colonized, and after the colonization, they sit down and discuss on how they wanted things to work out, on how they wanted their country to be, on how they wanted their economy to look like. And that's why you are seeing today, country like China is the best country in economy, is the country that is producing a lot of everything when we talk about electronics, just because they packaged and organized themselves. So that's why maybe like Donald Trump has said that he wants to introduce democracy in each and every country of the world. So each and every country has to follow order, the new world order. So I think that's when we will see the third world war coming out, because there are some countries you will no longer go and convince or manipulate them, because they have already organized themselves. Just because General Michael Langley failed to capture Africa, the Sahel countries, the West African countries, that's when he feels like or looked like he is not fit to do or to deal with the assigned duties that he was given. So we as Africans, what Africans are saying that is that it doesn't matter where comes to hold the position of General Michael Langley, but as long as you are coming to deal with the Africans, and whatever you are coming to do with the Africans are not the same as the interests of the Africans by themselves, it's not relating to what if Africans are dreaming of, then you cannot survive, you cannot manage it, you cannot do anything to achieve your dream, and while planning to destroy Africa. So this is a very deep conversation. When we talk about the Michael Langley, these AFRICOM issues and Africa and the US, the US is trying to manipulate and capture everything in Africa. All this US is trying to do is because of their incompetence. Because at this time, US is trying to compete with Russia and China, because Russia and China are more dominating African countries. They are more dominating African countries, and they have decided to use different tactics just to accommodate Africa, compared to the former colonizers like US and Europe. Because You know, Russia never colonized African countries because Russia never believed in colonization. And some say that Russia, the reasons why they never colonized Africa is that they have no capability of colonizing Africans compared to those to the former colonizers of Africa, because for anyone to come and colonize Africa, you needed a lot of resource and instability. You have to be stable for you to come and conquer the African countries. So the Russia, when the former colonizers were busy colonizing African countries and installing their military bases in African countries, then Russia and China, Russia was another side focused on some things. And that's why today it's not like Russia is trying to come and maybe to conquer Africa. No, they are coming just because, you know, Russia and African countries is like they have the similar or same history. So when Russia comes in today in Africa countries to do some things, you know, it's like it is coming to rescue or to stand with or to support their colleagues because they were on the same path once a time. So that is what is giving the US and Europe a sleepless night, because they are feeling like they are losing more in Africa. They are losing more interest. They are losing more power and territories in Africa. Because when you take a look at the countries like of West, the Sahel regions, already US and France has lost their territories. All that they have been benefiting from these countries, they are no longer getting from them, because these countries has installed their security issues. They have installed everything that they can do themselves. So they have withdrawn in each and every circle that they have connecting them with the European or the US. So that's why US at this time is so highly fighting on how they can bring back or they can dominate what they believe that it belongs to them. So we as Africans, we're here. We are following up each and everything that is happening concerning Africa. And Africans this time, they have said that they are no longer going to allow anything to come or to repeat to happen as it was happened those ancient days. So here we are. We're watching each and every step they are taking, and we are on their backs. We are on the backs following each and everything that they are against our will, the will of Africans. So just maybe you will tell me what you have in the comment section. Do you think this Lieutenant General Ibrahim Anderson, the Air Force Lieutenant, the replacement of General Michael Langley, will succeed the mission of capturing Africa and installing back their military bases in each and every state as they have been using to? This is a question, and this is assignment that we as Africans, we are now here we have to tackle and deal with it. No matter what comes in, Africa is awake, and Africa is strong at this time, and we are not going to allow any manipulation anymore, anytime. Stay tuned until next episode. If you have not subscribed to the channel, kindly subscribe. If this is your first time visiting this site, we are not just building a YouTube channel, but we are building a community, a home that connects many Africans for us to know more what's happening and what is popping concerning African issues, because we need to create a stronger African community, so that when we can speak one voice, we can speak differently concerning our issues, and we are here to make ourselves strong. Stay tuned at the next episode. Stay and peace out.